Hello, folks. My name is Tumelo Mothotoane. I am the official host of the AI 2025 conference coming up in July, on the 27th and the 30th of July 2025. So we decided to actually have a bit of a conversation leading up to one of the panel discussions which will be had on day 2 of AIE. This panel discussion will happen right before our closing speaker, Ms. Putimhanyela Dabengwa, gives us the closing keynote remarks. So we'll be delving into a topic entitled Withering Global Winds, Navigating Political Shifts and Economic Winds, Lessons for the African Insurance Industry. But of course, joining me to take this conversation even further, I'm now joined by one of the panelists for this topic that will be had in detail on day 2 of AIE. His name is Francois Baird. He's the founder and chairman of Baird's CMC Limited. He's an Africa expert, a leader, trusted advisor, as well as an entrepreneur. So, Francois, thank you for your time and welcome.
Thank you, Tumelo. I'm, of course, here in my capacity as a distinguished fellow at the Energy Policy Research Foundation, a think tank in Washington, D.C.
Appreciate you coming through and sharing your views with us. And I think we'll have a much more detailed conversation at conference. But I thought we should have more of a teaser in terms of what we would expect during our conversation alongside your co-panelist, Dr. Ralph Mateja, at conference. But just to kickstart this conversation, Francois, let's start with the bigger picture here. How would you describe the current state of global political and economic winds, and why this moment in history is particularly important and significant for Africa?
If we look at the world over the last 80 years, we had a single movie playing, and everyone knew the script, and the actors may have come and gone, but they played their roles. We are now in a different position. I think we're now in a position where there are several movies playing all at the same time. And if you want to understand what is happening and where it's going, we need to understand the different movies. And the script is being written as we go. There's no set script anymore. And when I asked my mother for her 90th birthday, what's the word we should learn? She said, adapt. And I think if there's one word we should take into account in this new world order or disorder, this disrupted script, it is adapt.
With that being said, we see, a rise in shifting alliance. What was no longer is. What is may shift in future once again. So when it comes to African insurers, how should they interpret the global recalibration in trade, in diplomacy, but also in finance?
Of course, the entire global system is being reordered. And it's reordered in terms of several different pivotal issues. The one issue is the relationship between the West and China. Not only the US and China, but the entire West and China. The other is the issue of Russia and the war in Europe. Because the Ukraine war is not only a Ukrainian problem, it's a European problem. And then when you look at the impact of Iran's role in global jihadism and disruption of fragile states and so on, Africa is seen as a place with more wars than in a long time. When the Wall Street Journal starts reporting about the unreported wars of Africa, we know that this continent is being viewed in a different light. And it's not necessarily good or bad in terms of whether people see us their way or not. It is what we do. It is whether we are actually going to do things in Africa to change our own situation. And for insurance professionals, it's not only about the risk in terms of having to pay out when bad things happen. It's also about the economy. It's about the investment opportunities. It is about the future, because they take a long-term view too. And when you take this long-term view, you have to look at what is it that Africa has to focus on.